A few times right here on my YouTube channel and in my comments, I have been accused of gentrifying Mexico. I'm not offended by these types of comments because gentrification is a real thing. However, people shouldn't just throw out accusations when they don't really understand what they're trying to say. So, let's talk about it. But before we get started, I'm Kevin Giles, and this is Melanin Man Travels. Melanin Man Travels is all things investing, retiring early, living abroad, and how to take a paid career break. If any of these things pique your interest, then you need to stay tuned. A viewer of my channel recently expressed their dislike of quote-unquote expats gentrifying Mexico and driving up the prices. Based on the tone of her message, I'm assuming she wants to move here from another non-Mexican location. Here's what she wrote. I'm so tired of these types of videos, the expats that gentrify areas. I'm searching for a place to live in Guadalajara, and this video is the reason why things are so expensive. The market is so high, pushing locals out of their homes and making it hard for people like me to be able to afford an apartment. This video is nothing but boasting. We will discuss the definition of gentrification later. But because she and others have shared this position, I have some questions that you may have too, especially when you are considering where you want to live and why. So here we go. Is it wrong for me to live within a socioeconomic level that may be upper middle class for local Mexicans, even though it may be considered lower middle class for Los Angeles residents? Is this behavior gentrification? The residents in my current neighborhood are local Mexicans, and many of the housing prices here are way above what I can afford to pay. Am I gentrifying because I simply want to live in this area in an apartment that I can afford? My neighbors drive expensive luxury vehicles. You'll see Benzes and Audis and Rovers that I can't afford now, nor could I afford when I lived in the US. Plus, they cost even more here because of the import fees. So, since I'm not at that economic level, how is it possible that I'm gentrifying? An apartment that would cost $2,500 to $3,500 USD in a similar Los Angeles neighborhood may only cost $1,000 USD in a suburban neighborhood here in Guadalajara. Should I feel guilty for being able to afford to pay the $1,000? Should I have been envious of Mexican immigrants in Los Angeles who were able to earn a higher income than I was able to? How would that make sense? Some expats choose to live in neighborhoods here in Guadalajara that have a lower cost of living, cheaper rent, and less expensive mom and pop stores to shop at. They feel like they are living a more authentic Mexican lifestyle, and I appreciate them for that, for wanting to live like locals do. And on some level, I believe we all should because we chose to live in Mexico. However, are all Mexicans a monolith? Is there just one Mexican experience? Or, as expats, are we expressing our own implicit biases about Mexicans based on some ethnic or socioeconomic stereotype? There are so many questions to ponder. Migration patterns exist all over the world. Our global history teaches us that nomadic tribes traveled from place to place to find fresh and fertile lands, pastures for their livestock, and rich areas so that they can hunt and that they can fish. People groups have been on the move since the beginning of time. Now, some people are compelled to leave their countries of origin. Others are attracted to places that are new and exciting to them. At various times and for a variety of reasons, people have been pushed from their homes. In Ireland, the potato famine of the 1800s caused residents to relocate to the UK, Australia, even the United States. In Africa, water droughts have caused rural populations to move from dry, arid places closer to locations with more abundant water resources. Similar climate-related migrations also occur in the Middle East. In the Bible, Mary and Joseph migrated from Nazareth in northern Israel with their baby Jesus, simply because they were seeking safety in Egypt because the Jewish king Herod wanted to slaughter baby boys. In the U.S., Africans that were held in chattel slavery in the South fled to the North. And even after the abolishment of slavery, Black people continued to migrate north for safer environments and for better economic opportunities. These migration stories are not just in the past. There are other atrocities happening in our modern times. People groups are being pushed out of their homes. Let's take a look at Venezuela and Honduras. Residents of these countries are being pushed and pulled out of their countries. Why? Venezuela has been experiencing a destabilized economy and political turmoil. The people of Honduras are battling political corruption and catastrophic climate change. Hunger, poverty, widespread violence has caused these migrants to seek refuge in other parts of Latin America and even in the US. These people just want to work hard, feed their children, and return some stability to their families. Just like the Haitian immigrants in Ohio. Humanity has always had legitimate reasons to migrate. Why do some people feel pulled to a new location? They may desire better economic opportunities, greater security, and access to quality and affordable healthcare. Some citizens from India migrate to the U.S. for greater employment opportunities and to escape a caste system that may have limited their specific economic opportunities. Some Mexican citizens also migrate north for improved economic opportunities that may not exist in their towns or in their regions of Mexico. As an American, I have decided to become an expatriate, or an expat for short. An expat is someone who has chosen to live outside of their country of origin for reasons such as a desire to live in a different culture, maybe to escape political instability or increase their financial autonomy. I generally refer to myself as an expat or a guest because it best describes my experience abroad. Having left the US, I actually see myself more of a citizen of the world. I can live almost anywhere I choose. So far, I have chosen to become a legal resident of Mexico, with other countries on my radar. U.S. citizens migrate to other countries for very similar reasons as immigrants who migrate to the U.S. We all are seeking some improvement in our lives. I must make an important distinction between an immigrant, someone who is coming into the U.S., and an expatriate, someone who has chosen to leave the U.S. The difference is the amount of power, autonomy, privilege, and economic resources that a U.S. citizen possesses and is able to take with them versus the lack thereof for people who are immigrating to the U.S. As Americans of the African diaspora, we have a long history of economic opportunities being either held back from us or stolen from us. Redlining, a lack of educational opportunities, pay inequities, and more. As far as security is concerned, there has always been some type of target on the mental and physical backs of African Americans. A lack of safety for us in this country has proven itself time and time again. Because there are plenty of countries around the world that can foster a safer environment in which to live, provide access to quality health care at an affordable cost, and have a local economy that I can contribute to and benefit from, I have chosen to migrate. I'm actually being pushed and pulled at the same time. Now, to address the initial comment. What is gentrification? Gentrification is a deliberate and opportunistic process where a low-income neighborhood undergoes significant socioeconomic changes due to an influx of wealthier residents. These wealthier people want to capitalize on the lower cost of ownership in these areas, thereby changing their new surroundings to benefit themselves. This results in rising property values, changes in the area's character, and the displacement of long-term, typically lower income residents. In Mexico, this has not been my experience. However, in my native Los Angeles, I have watched various neighborhoods succumb to gentrification. Areas that were deemed the inner city or the hood now have an influx of financially advantaged white residents moving from other areas of Los Angeles to take advantage of the less expensive but prime real estate. A decade or two before, many of these individuals wouldn't even drive through these neighborhoods, let alone live in them. They are denigrating long-term residents, trying to eradicate historical significance, and displacing potential new property owners and renters. This is exploitation, and that is not what is happening in my well-established Mexican neighborhood with its own long-term Mexican residents. My neighborhood is called Providencia. I'm very comfortable here. I haven't felt othered or unwelcomed in any kind of way. When I'm out and about, some people will assume that I speak English and they'll start a conversation in my native language. Others assume that I speak Spanish simply because I'm here in Mexico. Or they think that I'm Cuban, like someone asked me this week. Either way, when I use my limited Spanish, it's appreciated by my neighbors and the local cafe workers. People remember my name, employees remember my order, even if they don't speak English. They give me the same amount of respect as they would any other local, and they extend patience to me as I learn to navigate their language, their culture, and their country. I have often been invited by various locals to simply hang out with them or make sure that the next time I see them that I say hello. It feels like home, and I'm very grateful for their Mexican hospitality. Does gentrification exist in Mexico? Of course it does. There are people who do not know how to properly navigate the world and respect other people and the ways of life that they have. In certain areas of Guadalajara and other Mexican cities, you'll see signs that say, "Gringo, go home." These negative expressions come from individuals who bring their disrespectful, privileged attitudes with them, and they expect people to adapt and to change to their whims. So of course Mexican locals don't want those individuals around them. I'd be offended too. Because gentrification behaviors and attitudes exist all over the world, including Europe and the US, it's time that we gain a clear understanding of what this term really means and what the intent behind the individuals are who participate in it. Then, as world travelers and global citizens, it is our responsibility to not engage in it. People have been global citizens for decades, if not centuries. Moving to another country in order to improve your life is not a bad thing in my humble opinion, as long as you do not hurt the people and the culture where you're relocating. This is what is meant by decolonizing your mind. The goal is to not be exploitive in how I move throughout the world. As an American, I enjoy many of my familiar creature comforts, but I have also chosen to live outside of the US. So I should not expect that life will be the same in this new place that I live. People and societies have existed outside of the US for thousands of years. The American way is not the only way, and it's not the best way of living. Being a global citizen improves our well-being. We can learn, we can grow, and we should expand. So, as global citizens, let's do our very best to be of benefit and service wherever we choose to live. If we all have the goal of making a place better when we leave it than when we arrived, then we can all learn to live in harmony with our new neighbors and learn and grow from them. The only people that we need to change is ourselves. So, that's my 2 cents from my 1-year-old seat of living abroad in Guadalajara, Mexico. If you want to learn more about how I am able to live my life globally, follow my channel. If you want to learn more about early retirement, investing, world travel, or how to take a paid career break, hit the notification bell. Or you can follow the link in the video description and enroll in my online course, Break Free Mental Health Leave Mastery. Hasta luego.